Taking a tour of where your finances can go? Good plan. See how Northwestern Mutual's approach to financial planning is designed for your goals. Goals like protecting loved ones, growing investments, and planning for retirement. With our interactive tour, you'll discover how growth and protection work together to help make your dreams a reality. See what goes into a good financial plan at northwesternmutual.com/tour. The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
This is a Bramble Jam podcast. Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Hallmark movies.
I'm Dan. I despise Hallmark movies.
I'm Wes. I'm in all of them.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast. Oh, boy.
Very excited for the day.
I didn't know this. Wes is in every single Hallmark
He's in all of them.
movie.
And it's like a Where's Waldo.
Catch him.
It's like a Where's Waldo.
That's a contract he has with Crown Media, where he's in all of them.
Ones I'm not in, they just CGI me.
That's right. Yeah.
Before I joined them. Yeah.
Of course.
That's great.
It is great.
I'd love for that to be the case.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. We've had some good guests lately on the show, but I was like, could we have a guest that, I don't know, maybe plays guitar but also stays fit? Maybe rides a bike or something.
But doesn't go anywhere. It's like a stationary type thing.
Yeah, and sometimes I do both at the same time. It gets a little weird, but that's okay.
Yeah. Wow.
No, wow.
You
really
play
good.
guitar and ride the Peloton. Man, that's impressive, Wes.
I'm going to be an instructor there soon. That's my goal.
Do you have a go-to Peloton instructor?
I do. I like Alex Toussaint, Cody Rigsby, Allie Love. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Those
good.
three. Wow.
Passed. I've done an Alex one before.
Yeah. I can't imagine getting on a Peloton bike. It sounds miserable.
No, it's not miserable. It's not miserable.
Right.
It's great.
Who's your go-to?
So this is true, actually.
You know a bunch of them. You don't get this Peloton body without doing this every night,
Are you
right?
kidding me? Look at this. Look at this just kind of person. I don't have a go-to person, but I do have a go-to class or a couple of classes, and they are Christmas classes. So they are from like December, and it's Christmas music, and I'm the kind of guy who listens to Christmas music all year, and so that's kind of my jam. So if it's like, if you've ever wanted a Peloton to Wham or something like that, you can.
I found a way to make it worse. There it is. Yeah.
Wes, thanks so much for joining us, man. It's been a long time coming, and we're very excited to dive in. But let's start before Hallmark, before the Peloton, before the guitars. You were a child. And I want to know what it was like. What was little Wes like? And when did you first start getting interested in acting as a kiddo?
I really didn't get interested in it until around my junior year at LSU. I'm from Baton Rouge. I went to LSU, and I was majoring in general studies, a little bit of everything, and I started taking theater classes. And I just really started to enjoy it, enjoy the process. I was playing in a band that we started, and we kind of accidentally became, I don't want to say successful. That's too much, but we were doing well, and we did well for several years.
What was the name of the band?
I played in a couple of them, but the band that lasted the longest was called Anomaly. And we played all over the South, and I just really knew at that moment I didn't want a regular job. So I moved the band to LA. I started, I ended up making theater a part of my major. I booked my first role in Glory Road out of New Orleans. And then we moved the band to LA. Band kind of fell apart. And then I moved to Nova Scotia to do my first gig. And that's kind of where it all started.
So you didn't really do any acting like in high school, grade school, elementary school, middle school, none of that?
I did not. I was into sports a lot, but no one in my family was an actor or per se. So yeah. Before
we have obviously all acting questions here, but the number of times from Baton Rouge you've heard, let's just say, how many times a week is it played? Garth Brooks calling Baton Rouge on the radio. I'm just curious. It's my favorite Garth Brooks song.
A lot. It's really it's the best at LSU football games on Saturday night.
Oh yeah,
they'll blare that all the time.
Well, I'm a big Clemson fan, so we have to argue about Death Valleys. I mean, we can do it later, but we have to argue about Death Valleys at some point along the way. And there is that recent game where LSU took us to the woodshed, and we don't have to talk about it. But congrats on the national championship.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
That was the last one until college football no longer existed.
That's right. Yeah, and I could have a full breakdown for you about why we were playing press man coverage against Joe Burrow, but I don't think our listeners want to hear it. So we can do acting stuff instead, I guess.
Go acting.
So you fall into this a little bit. You booked Glory Road before you moved to LA. Like that's a feature film. Josh Lucas is the lead, basketball movie, famous story, a movie that did well at the box office. How'd you get that role? Like at what point were you auditioning in Louisiana before you moved out to California?
Yeah, so this summer between my junior and senior year, I actually moved to Los Angeles for 2 months, but I was on I actually had a scholarship to LSU, and so the base of my scholarship was I couldn't miss a semester. So I took that summer, moved to LA just to even make sure I would like it. And during that summer, I got a manager and an agent, but told them I wanted to go back and finish my senior year and get my degree. They agreed, and I came back, and about a semester later, that's when Louisiana had kind of redone its tax credits, and a lot of movies were starting to film in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. And she sent me an audition for Glory Road, and I went to New Orleans, did it, and luckily got it.
Man, was that like your first audition?
It was the first real audition for something that I did a couple, I did a Leanne Rimes music video.
Yeah.
And so
that's where I know you from.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a first real audition in the sense it was a major motion picture.
Yeah. So then, which is, I'm still trying to wrap my brain around, this is early 2000s, and you go to LA, you get an agent, you get a manager, and you're like, I'm going back to Baton Rouge because I got to get my degree, which is such that's a Hallmark movie right there in and of itself. And then it still works out for you. You still end up getting to LA and booking the gigs and being a successful actor. I mean, that's living the dream right there, sir. Like you're really doing it, man.
It really was. That was my parents were extremely supportive of the band and acting. The only thing he asked me, he didn't ask me much, but he asked me to finish school and get my degree. I wouldn't regret it, and he was correct on that. So that's the only thing he asked me. So I went ahead and tried to do that. But yeah, no, I lucked out on that one.
So you switched majors, I think you said, to become a theater.
Added theaters. He was general studies. He knows about everything.
Yeah,
general studies.
General.
Right. Yeah.
General stuff.
General studies. It's what you don't know what you want to do with your life degree.
Oh, it was called humanities when I was in school. I majored in the humanities briefly, Wes. I get it.
All right.
What so when you started kind of taking more of these theater classes, what was something what did you learn so much? Like you're like, oh wow, there's actually things that I can do to be a better actor. Like what were some of the things that you learned doing theater classes that have kind of stuck with you or helped you kind of figure out how to do this thing called acting?
You know what? The theater classes, I would say, this is going to sound kind of weird, but there's no better class than actually getting on set and learning from the real professionals. Like when I booked Glory Road to watch Josh Lucas and Derek Luke and John Voight and see how they work. I mean, I don't think there's any class that can teach you how a film set works, how the actors conduct themselves, how they prepare for roles. So there's nothing like experience, and when I moved to LA, almost as soon as I moved there, I got Beach Girls, which was a Lifetime series with Rob Lowe, and that was the first time I actually ever got on a plane to go to be on a job for, I think we were there for probably 6 months. So the experience in the class is just, they aren't hand in hand, and theater's a lot different than television and TV acting. So,
oh yeah, Now in Glory Road, and we can't do this with every one of your credits, unfortunately, because I would love to, but you had to play Pat Riley in Glory Road. That's not a nobody, Wes. Pat Riley is just a world famous basketball coach. There's a lot there. I mean, you've not acted really. Is how intimidating is that to know? I mean, and in the movie, he's not portrayed super great. So what all went through your head as a brand new actor going, I got to play a legend?
Well, he showed up too.
Really?
He showed up to a couple of days on set, and I had never seen anything like it. I always described it. When he came on the set, it was like the old Westerns where the guy walked in the bars and those doors started swinging, everything just stopped.
Wow.
He was a very intimidating man. I didn't realize how big he was, to be honest with you. I'm 6'3", and he had a good couple inches on me. I'm not sure how tall he is, but he was completely intimidating, but a really cool guy. But there was a lot of first-time guys on there. So the team we played on, Texas Western, and then when we played Kentucky, those guys on the Kentucky team, they were all like semi-professional basketball players. They weren't actors.
Wow.
So, and it was kind of ironic that the team that won was probably the team that was the least talented in basketball. But we had a lot of first-time guys. I know the guy who directed it was James Gartner, who was a big commercial director, but this was his first feature. So there was a lot of first times on that whole set. So it was a big production.
So in the same year that Glory Road is released, you also are in the other probably biggest sports movie of that year for sure, We Are Marshall, directed by McGee, starring Matthew McConaughey, Ian McShane. I mean, these are some serious, this is the big time here. Like, what are you, out of the gate, this is not normally, when we do interviews like this, it normally is like, 3
CSI.
Well, what's next is great. Is
there's CSI.
CSI Miami right after it.
It had to happen. Yeah. It had to happen.
Yeah.
CSI's in.
Yeah, but like, what's it like to just book these two right out of the gate? I mean, these are 2 feature films. You're watching yourself on the big screen, like right away.
It's really a pinch yourself moment. I just felt really lucky and blessed to be there. To play Ian McShane's son, to be directed by, again, just sitting there soaking it all in, watch these guys work, and just try to make sure that casting is just happy they hired you.
Yeah, well, we try not to ask actors about working with other actors because it's just kind of offensive. But Ian McShane, I think, is the exception to that rule. Like, what's this guy like in real life? Like, he's the voice of God. Like, he is, like, I loved Deadwood. He used to do the over narration for the Masters. Everything he's in, everything he says has the utmost gravitas about it. Like, what's he like off set?
He was a really sweet guy. He's a little quiet. I didn't realize how thick his accent is. Yeah. It kind of blew my mind. Because I obviously being from the South, so that I wasn't around actors like that. So it was just another one of those moments where I was like, oh my gosh, it's Ian McShane right here and directing, and it was just soak it up, see what these guys do, and just do your best.
Man, that's wild.
they're really sweet. I feel like because I've had some experiences on much smaller independent films that didn't go as smoothly. I think that these guys, it's all about the work. They don't have anything else to prove. They're at the top of their game. So, it was one of those moments where you're watching the best work, and you're really, really lucky to be there.
Yeah. So how, when you moved out to California, did you have to get a job like so many other actors do to kind of have some sort of income coming in while they're auditioning? And how long did that last? Because you do get these 2 pretty big breaks, pretty quickly early on in your career. So was that the case for you, or did you move out there and things kind of got moving?
No, I didn't. I did not have to get a job.
Wow.
I worked for a really long time in high school and throughout college, and I didn't save a lot of money, but I saved some. The only thing my parents gave me was I had an Exxon gas card.
That's great.
Which you can buy groceries at the Exxon too. But no, I was out there for a few months, and we booked the show with Rob Lowe that shot in Nova Scotia, and that was kind of it. I think man, I guess ignorance is bliss, but I think I had like $800 or something like that left. Not really sure how I was going to pay rent the next month, but it happened. So
that's amazing,
man. We do a lot of these. We've done over 100 of these interviews, and I think this is the first time we've heard that story. Like I'm dead serious. That's fantastic.
Did I get a story?
The not having a job in LA, like bartending or waiting tables or doing something while they were trying to like audition, like almost. Well, everybody tells that version of it, where I was doing this and I'd ride this train to get here and then audition. And that's kind of everyone seems to have a very similar story, but but most of their stories also include, I did theater in high school and in middle school, and I was the lead in the play as a 10-year-old, and you didn't have any of that either. No, but I did have enough jobs in high school and college to make up for the lack of bartending in LA. Yeah. I was the cook at Applebee's when I was a junior in high school. So
that checks out.
Yeah.
That explains so much about Applebee's.
That job to just anybody.
You got to be a junior.
That's right. Yeah.
No sophomores here.
Your scholarship to LSU, was that academic, athletic? What was it?
It was academics, believe it or not.
Man, he's just the best guy and doesn't want to say it. Like Wes is just Mr. All America, and he's just trying to be humble over there with his guitar and Peloton bike.
Yeah, that's all the subtlety behind me.
All right, I got it. This is an important question. You did True Blood, which Hallmark fans would love. Very similar content-wise to Hallmark movies. You did 7 episodes of that. I'm just looking here. Glory Road, Texas. We Are Marshall, West Virginia. CSI Miami. I assume someone in Miami or Florida area. True Blood. They're down in the bayou somewhere, right? They're down.
CSI Miami shoots in LA, actually.
Well, I was talking about your character. I'm talking about you played a lot of Southerners early on. And so what was the first leap to where you had to put away all of the Southern drawl and play something that was a little bit more not Southern?
This comes to mind first, but I go back to that show Beach Girls.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason being is because these guys are the show is set in a fictional town in the Northeast. But me being straight out the bayou, I never had a thick accent, but there were words there if I was speaking too fast or anything. So I got just all the directors on that series. They had to say, hey, you said y'all, and there's no y'all in the script. So that was one of the first ones. But I just kind of got tired of people telling you, hey, you lose it or whatever. So I learned pretty quickly to knock it off.
Yeah, well, you're incredibly well spoken, and you've played roles. We've watched you on Hallmark. Not all of your roles are Southern roles. You have that ability for sure. It just looked early on like, hey, we've got a 6'3" guy from Louisiana. We're going to use that as kind of a typecast. You know what I mean? Like this guy can speak in the Southern drawl, and that works well. And so that you got to lean a little bit on your strengths there early on.
In True Blood, they wanted me to amp it up.
Oh, everybody on that show was amping it up. Yeah, to the nth degree. Like Anna Paquin and the Stephen Moyer, all of them are just full bore on that. There's no doubt about it.
I was actually the only Americans on that show when I was on it.
Yeah, you're right. They had a lot of people from all over the place. Yeah. Stephen Moyer's like British, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from England.
Yeah. That's wild. And isn't that in Louisiana? Isn't the show in Louisiana?
It's set in Louisiana.
Yeah. So was that weird? Like seeing all these people from all over the world trying to kind of do your thing, like do the place that you lived in a vampire scene?
And the irony is that my character was the only one from Texas.
Yeah, of course not. Of course not.
But, that was another show that we had a table read every Monday, and for whatever reason, they set me. My little name and place card was next to Alan Balls.
Oh wow!
I would show up early on purpose just to have a few minutes conversation with him, just to kind of pick his brain about certain stuff, because not every day you get to go to work on Mondays and sit next to a Academy Award winning screenwriter. So
he's a legend. He's an absolute legend. I mean, I bet you gleaned so much for him. That's fantastic. It seems like it just comes up roses for you, at least as an actor. Is there a memorably bad audition? An audition where you left and you went, oh boy, I think I'm not getting that job.
Hundreds. I remember one in particular. It was for a pilot that it didn't get picked up, but that wasn't the point. I went in thinking I was going into a room with just, a producer and director. I walked into the room. There's probably 30 something people in there. And I got so nervous. I clammed up. And I think I forgot every word. So I pretty much just walked out and be like, well, I didn't get that one.
Thanks for your time. I'll see myself out.
Oh, I love that. Your career has done, you've had a lot of TV stuff. You've had a lot of, feature films kind of mixed in there. Is there kind of a type of role that you prefer, whether it be TV to movie, whether it be, shooting like with Hallmark 14 days and you're done, or a series where you're there for, like with the Beach Girls thing where it's 6 months? Like, what's kind of your preference? Like, if I could have a dream job, like this would be it in regards to filming. Man,
they've all been so different. I'll be honest, I have not had many bad negative experiences. I'm definitely knocking on wood. One of my favorite that comes to mind was a show we did called Deception. We shot in New York, and shooting in New York was something like that I've never really experienced before. Like just having, I don't know, you feel the weight and the energy of the city when you're shooting there. So that I really, really loved. But one of my very first Hallmark experiences was like 3 Westerns out, back to back to back. And that was incredible. Getting there every day, putting on cowboy hat, riding horses, shooting guns. I mean, that was great too. So, there's nothing like being on a series, something that's long. I actually don't really love the short movie shoots because I love being on a set with other actors and directors and, being in another location. I don't really want it to end, to be honest with you. So,
yeah. Well, it seems like that, normally we look at filmographies and there's a ton of one-offs. Like I was, on this show, and there's a little bit of that, but a lot of these you get stints. Like you get 4 episodes on Heart of Dixie, 5 episodes on 90210, 11 episodes on Deception. Or were these roles that were meant to last that long, or were you supposed to come on for 1 or 2 episodes and they kept you going?
Both. Heart of Dixie, it was just an arc. 90210, that was a really fortunate thing. I actually got a contract extension on that one, but Deception happened, which was a series regular in New York City, and 90210 was not. But no, they've been both. They've been both where True Blood kept going a little past what they initially said it was. Beach Girls, that was a limited series, but I heard that we were going to get another season. But because it was a limited series, I believe, if I'm correct, Rob Lowe couldn't do it because he said yes to this little show that no one ever heard of called Brothers and Sisters. So.
Yeah. I hate that for Rob. Rob just can't catch a break. That poor guy. Yeah.
He'll make it one day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, he should start a podcast. Oh wait, he has.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
whatever.
I've done that too.
Just
That's
whatever,
right.
Rob. Just do whatever. I find your filmography fascinating because you start in 0506 and until like 14, 15, it's boom, 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 boom. And then you start doing Hallmark and it slows down. And I'm interested in, is that like these movies allow me to have a family and to have a semi-normal life? Like, is it a choice thing to where, the past 5 years, it's been, a handful of Hallmark movies. It's been a little bit slower. Like what do you attribute that to?
What's that? The Hallmark?
The Hallmark, but also just you were going so hard for so long, and in the last few years, it's mainly been Hallmark, and like a kind of less roles. Is that kind of like Hallmark's allowed me to take less and be more, like a normal family?
No. I mean, well, Yeah, I guess it's yes and no. No, Hallmark's definitely allowed me to do so many things that I wouldn't be able to do, normally. But no, the way it's been great. No, I've never turned anything down because of any Hallmark films or stuff like that. The industry changes, and that your age range changes and stuff like that. We have a few things in the works right now that I'm crossing my fingers on, but I mean, no, Hallmark's been great, and this new avenue that they're going right now. I know we have a fall movie in the works right now that actually came from my wife's true story. So no, we're still full steam ahead with all that.
Wow, got to at least. Do you want to get there now, or you want to wait?
We can get there. Who cares?
Your wife's true story is going to be a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, she wrote the story. She had an aunt. Her name was Carol, and she lived in South Alabama. And she just had she passed away a couple years ago, but she just had a really nice family story that she thought might make for a good movie. So she wrote a treatment and actually sold it to Hallmark. And so we're going to make that one this year. And the guy writing it was actually nominated for an Academy Award for Klaus, if you've seen that.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah, so he wrote Klaus, and now he's going to be writing our movie for this year.
Wow. That's awesome.
So, yeah. That's fantastic. So your first TV movie is Christmas Cookies, which is a Hallmark movie, correct?
It wasn't the first, though.
Yeah, well, it was acquired Hallmark, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. How did you get, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how did we get to this avenue? How did we get to Hallmark? Like, how did you find out about Hallmark? How did you become kind of their recurring? I mean, you're one of the guys they turn to that are big stars for these movies. And how did that happen in your career?
I believe, if I'm correct on the year, I think it was 2009. I went into Penny's casting office, and I was on True Blood at the time. And I think I auditioned for a movie called, it was a Loves Come Softly. They were going back from these Dale Midkiff movies, and it was a two picture deal, and I got it, and that was it. That was the last time I auditioned for them, and I've been coming back. I don't think every year, but I think almost every year they've just been having me back. So
wow! So you did a movie for them in 2009? Holy!
It might have been 2010 as well. I'm trying to remember.
Was it Love Begins?
Or Love's Everlasting Courage?
Yep.
Wow! Had no idea. Man, it snuck in there. So you've been working with Hallmark for over like a dozen years.
About a dozen years, yep.
How is it kind of that's
before Bill Abbott. So he was there before Bill Abbott.
When Abbott was kind of,
and then worked throughout Bill Abbott. And now that's quite a range.
That's quite the range. Like how has it been for you watching the channel evolve? Like I think of like 2011 to 2014 as this like experimental thing with Hallmark. They're kind of figuring things out, and then in 14, 15 they get the formula, to use that verbiage, and they go from 14 to 18, 19, just like we know what we're doing. We're gonna make 40 Christmas movies, blah, blah, like they became this juggernaut. How has it been for you as an actor to kind of see that evolution of Hallmark, especially in this TV space where a lot of cable channels are declining and Hallmark's growing or staying the same in viewership?
Well, at first I will say, because acting is a tough profession as far as just there's so much competition. You go in a audition, you sign your name. Back when you did audition, you sign your name in, and you see 100 people before you, and there's going to be 200 after you. Just to get jobs is it's difficult. The reason I'm saying that is it's so important as an actor to find a home, to find some kind of home base, whether it be a TV show, a network. Although I've never done a TV show or a series for them, I've always felt Hallmark to be a home, and I didn't know it was going to last as long as it did. I hope it lasts a dozen more years. But that's always been hugely appreciative of me to be able to feel at home with them, to keep going back to working with them. But it's been really great, not only to see Hallmark evolve as a network as much as they have, but, I've got friends within the network. I mean, I remember Randy Pope, when I did my first movie with him, I think he was a line producer.
Oh, wow.
On the movie, and now he's one of the big guys here in LA. So, and just to watch a number of friends, their actors, directors, just grow and evolve, and to see where everyone within the company, it's just been great. And also a point to what you said, there's so many networks that have been kind of going down, and Hallmark's they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then where I'm really curious to see this new wave, after Mr. Abbott has gone, to see where that heads up.
I want to talk about Graceland, and I want to talk about it like this first. Graceland was the highest rated Christmas movie in 2018. It's the 6th highest Christmas movie Hallmark's ever done.
What? Seriously?
Was it surprising to you? And it got a sequel. Was it surprising to you that was the one? Like, I'll from my point of view, I knew Kelly Pickler existed. I didn't know that she had this type of fan base.
Do you think it was her, or was it the locale of Graceland?
What do you attribute it to, I guess, is a good question, because it was a huge movie, biggest movie of 2018, and it was huge, and you got a sequel. Like, what do you attribute the success of that movie to?
That's a great question. Man, I would like to say it's a little bit of everything. I think all the filmmakers involved, but it had a cool factor to it, man. It was at Graceland. It's Elvis Presley. It's got Kelly Pickler singing Elvis songs, and then you're gonna throw in Christmas on top of all that. I mean, it was a really great mesh of just a lot of different things. People worked really hard on that movie to make that happen. I remember where I was actually living in Connecticut at the time, and I remember a friend of mine who works in the New York office, she called me. She goes, "Hey, you sing a little and play the piano, right?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Okay, I'm gonna call you back." So I hung up. She calls me back. She goes, "All right, Christmas at Graceland with Kelly Pickler. You ready to do it?" And I was like, "What?" I was like, Kelly Pickler, because I didn't think I'd never seen her in anything, so I didn't know where they were going.
Boy, I wonder why that is.
And then I get the email that we're going to be doing all these Elvis songs and stuff like that. So I was like, it was just very, very different. So I'm happy it rated as well as it did.
It's the last Hallmark movie, Dan, to get over 4 million.
Wow.
It's the last. It's 2018.
Everybody wanted to show up to see if it really does snow in Graceland, Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee.
And, I think they're supposed, because of COVID, they were supposed to do another one.
They did another. Yeah, they did another Christmas at Graceland with Adrian Grenier and another lead, a different lead. Like it was like a anthology.
I believe there was supposed to be another one after that.
Wow, man!
And I thought Kelly and I were going to have a cameo in it. I don't know if it's still going to happen or not. I'm not sure.
What was it? I mean, I have a couple. Had you visited Graceland before the movie?
I was driving across country years ago, and we stopped and just peeked over the wall, but we didn't go in.
So what was that like? What was it like to kind of, because you guys got to film in the Graceland Hotel and have all of that at your disposal, right?
Yeah. I was the 7th person in history to get 7. Oh, and I'll also be the last to get to play his piano.
Wow.
Because after they did it, they put it in a museum.
That's awesome.
Come on.
It was like John Stamos, Kid Rock. It was a random group of the 6 before.
Forget Elvis, John Stamos, you lucky duck. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. But no, I would play, and then they had a lady there who would come and wipe the keys down.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So it was rock and roll, man.
Did you have to shoot a lot of that movie like in the middle of the night? because, I'm assuming that Graceland was still open.
We did do a lot of late night shoots. Yeah. To answer your question, yes. Some of it we had a built set to like go in his house. It was actually a built set across the street from Graceland. But yeah, we did a lot of night filming on that one. When it was.
It's so funny looking at this list, Dan, because it's like 14, Candace Cameron, 15, Candace Cameron, 16, Candace Cameron, 17, Candace Cameron, 18,
Wes Brown,
Kelly Pickler, Wes Brown.
So speaking of Kelly Pickler, and I would be remiss if I didn't ask this, Wes, we occasionally give her a bit of a hard time on the program here. And to be fair, she's a singer, songwriter. She's not a trained actress. But she did stumble upon a set and deliver lines for a few Hallmark movies. And as someone who, you're also a musician, like you're the reverse Kelly Pickler, right? Like you were a musician in college, but now you're a professional actor who kind of dabbles in that.
Right.
What was she open to, critique or to help, or this was really her first time really doing anything like this, right? So that's a different. Usually I'm sure part of this is you get your script, you get your location, and you get your co-star. Like you get those things. You're like, okay, they've done this X number of times. So this is a different ballgame for everyone involved. What was that like?
She was completely open to everything. Eric Close was he had directed, he was on Without a Trace for a while. I think he directed a couple episodes of this, but this was his first TV feature, his first, full-length film. He did great dealing with everything that he had to deal with as far as, being a first-time director. But he and her worked great together. She was always open for not necessarily critique, but just trying things different ways. Yeah, she was always open for that.
Yeah, it's good enough for me.
And you got to go back to Graceland.
That's right. You got to go back to Graceland. You get a sequel out of the deal. So that's a lot of fun.
That's great.
Which Hallmark movie, how about this? Let's get rid of the 09, 10, 11 stuff. Since in the modern Hallmark era. So since Christmas Cookies, since then, which one is your favorite or are you personally most proud of?
Ooh, good question. I will have to probably say the Grace. I don't know. I really had I love the Graceland ones. Because we got a sequel, because like you said, it was a number one, that had huge weight to it. But I also had an absolute blast on this last one, A Nashville Christmas Carol, getting to work with like Kix Brooks and because that was another really big one. We had 2 locations, which was a first for me. We shot in North Carolina and we shot in Nashville. So that just had a lot of depth to it. We had the magical factor in it, with it being based off a Dickens story. That was a lot of fun to shoot too.
Man,
so where in North Carolina did you shoot?
Charlotte.
Oh, okay. Wow. Right up the road.
Right up the road.
Yeah, hour and a half.
We didn't even get an invite.
Not even an invite, Wes. That's unbelievable. Yeah. You can ask this if you want. I couldn't believe that Kix Brooks was a ghost in this movie. I couldn't ever see anything other than Kix Brooks, and it was a riot. And I was like, what is happening right now? Kix Brooks is a ghost, but he's still just Kix Brooks, let's be honest. But Brand couldn't get enough of it. He thought
I loved it.
Like, what's it like? Because I looked, and I was like, how did Kix Brooks get involved in this movie? Like, who said we're going to do this movie? You know what? I got it, Kix Brooks. But apparently the guy that wrote it or directed it, is a partner of his, had done another movie with him or something beforehand.
Who wrote it was his son.
There it is. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And so the production company behind this was called Team 2 Entertainment, and Kix Brooks is a part of that.
Wow.
So I don't think he's a producer necessarily, but the 2 guys that are in Team 2, they had done some other previous stuff with Kix. And Kix wanted to get into the movie business, and he actually takes it very seriously. He takes it very seriously.
Really?
Yeah, he really wants to do this. Yeah, and I mean, I love the guy. He's great.
He's great.
Oh man, it seems like I can hang out with him all day. I just can't.
We got in quite the conversation, an argument about which, and I'm not going to ask you this question, but I want you to know because I think you'll think it's funny. Which of these ghosts or people that are in it, country stars, got paid the most?
Yes,
because Kix is on screen a lot, but
That's right.
what's Kix doing?
But Kimberly Williams Paisley
on there for a second,
who gets one scene,
bigger name.
She's a huge name in the Hallmark world. Kix Brooks is a country music legend. Let's not forget about Winona Judd.
Yeah,
we had quite the argument off screen about what's the pay. Like I know what the call sheet looks like, but what's the pay scale look like? We were arguing about that. Not that you have to comment necessarily.
I couldn't answer because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, but growing up in Louisiana, Brooks, you know who Brooks and Dunn were. Like, that's a big deal. Like, just to get to meet that guy's a big deal, right?
Huge deal.
Yes.
Enormous deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever think of the ramifications of a movie airing in 2020 and having no Christmas future? Like, did it ever occur to you, like, oh man, that's kind of a downer, isn't it?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It did not. That's a good one, though.
Listen, you just call up and you just say, hey, how's this look?
Did you read the script and not for a second go, wait a minute, I know there's three ghosts. Like, I know there's a past, a present, and a future. Where's the third? Like, did you ever ask that question?
I didn't. I just let 2020 happen.
Amen. Amen.
Do you get in the weeds on that kind of stuff, Wes, or are you more of a guy that's like, look, I love this company. I love that they keep sending me scripts and jobs. I'm here to do my job and I'm out the door. Or is this I want to get in and like, this doesn't make sense. I want to fix it. Which kind of guy are you?
100%. I've worked with people like that in the past, and it just doesn't go over very well because I think the company knows that I care. So it's not just the script when we start, because there's certain things you can change or certain things that you can't. But definitely when we get on set and we start breaking down scenes, that's when things start to change, because sometimes you'll read a script and you're like, okay, well, this works. And then you get there on the day and just something feels off or something feels funny. So no, I feel like we definitely break it down and try to make it as best as we can. There's some things we can't change though. And
it's the formula. Yeah. You gotta adhere to the formula.
Yeah. I know where I know how much I can swerve in my own lane. So I try not to overdo it.
Are you constantly looking for ways to creatively swerve? Like, is that important to you to like do something different, or is that not important to you?
It's very important to me. I mean, anytime we can find a little humor, make something a little tighter, it just, no matter what it is. No, I'm always looking for stuff to try to make it as good as we can.
I love it. I want to ask you this. You mentioned, you're kind of working on a couple things that you're crossing your fingers on and stuff like that. But like, is there any part of you that's interested? Obviously, your wife was interested in writing some sort of story, but do you have any desire to write or to produce or to direct kind of in the future? Like, what's your desire? Or is it just, I love acting, I just want to act?
No, I would like to do it all eventually in the right capacity. Yes, we have a few pitches that are into Hallmark right now. I've actually got one I developed for summer one, and it's with Lucy Buffett, Jimmy Buffett's sister. So I'm hoping that one happens.
I'm all in on that.
Yeah, I was going to throw my name in the hat to, if it happens, I'm not sure yet, to maybe direct that one.
Cool.
Maybe write it. Their writers are they got their go-to writers, and I know my wife's trying to get into that space too. So it's a long-winded way of saying yes.
Have you gotten like an EP credit at all on any of these movies?
Yeah, I've gotten a couple EP credits, and I'm an executive producer on this next one for this year.
Oh, great, cool.
Yeah, we've interviewed several of the writers for Hallmark, and it is its own world because their job is twofold. Sometimes they bring you new scripts, but a lot of times they're just Hallmark just acquires all these scripts, and then they hash them out to 5 people, and they Hallmark it up basically. So it's a different kind of world. It's very different.
It's a big process too. It's really big.
Yeah, because there's a reason the formula. I mean, you know, as much as I give it a hard time, I mean, like everybody loves a good cheeseburger. For some people, this is their formula. This is their comfort food, and you don't want to deviate from that too much while making as high quality a product as you can. Let me ask you this, and I've not asked this, I don't think yet to anybody, but you seem to have come across a lot of legends or had these opportunities. I mean, Winona Judd, Kix Brooks, Matthew McConaughey, Ian McShane, Alan Ball. I mean, what was the most kind of shell-shocked or starstruck you've been meeting an individual as a professional?
Oh, man. Look, being from Louisiana, Kix is going to be it's going to be up there. I mean, I think if I read this correctly, I think they're the number one duo in the history of music, not country music, music.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. If this is one of those questions where we're going to hang up and I'm like, oh, I know what I should have said, but no, seeing him and his lifestyle, we got to ride on his bus from Charlotte to North Carolina. We went to his house, his farm.
Wow,
that's awesome.
See how the guy rolls, who is still in the largest duo in the history of music. It's really inspiring, not just because he's rich, he's got stuff. It's like, my goodness, it's like, this is really just inspiring what hard work in the creative world can do.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine it not being Kix Brooks. In all honesty, I was wondering if there was another story in there somewhere.
Did you say, hey, like if you ever need a guitar player for the road, like like you have my number?
I pitched him Brooks and Brown, but there's that Ronnie guy.
Yeah, Ronnie's okay, I guess.
Get out of here, Ronnie. I love it. Rapid
fire, I believe, is what's
I
next.
love it. We're each going to ask you 3 questions, and you're going to answer them as quickly and honestly as possible. More emphasis on the fire, honesty, and less on the rapid, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to be honest. Okay, great.
Yeah. Dan?
The best meal in Baton Rouge.
Oh, well, meal or restaurant?
Restaurant, yeah. If you could say your parents' house for meal, that wouldn't be fair. Like a place where you got to go out that I could go to. I can't show up at your parents' house, so that I could get a meal in Baton Rouge.
Ruffino's.
Ruffino's.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
what kind of food
is that? Italian?
It's like it's Creole Italian.
Oh,
it's
boy.
Like Italian food and mix it with Cajun. It's like, so you get the eggplant parmesan. It's going to have like crab meat in it, stuff like that. So
boy.
It's a unique restaurant.
You mentioned that you toured a lot, playing a lot of, dive bars and stuff, I'm sure. What's the worst venue, the worst concert experience that you ever had to play? Like the sound was bad, sound guy sucked, crowd was awful. What was the worst one?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of those. We played a show on the beach in Galveston, Texas, and we got our band van stuck in the sand, half in the ocean, half out.
Oh no!
It was raining. And that was a miserable experience.
Oh gosh,
that's tough sledding there. The most memorable movie-going experience of your childhood? Like what movie that like you left the theater and you were just like, wow, that was unbelievable?
What about my childhood?
Yeah, I mean, all the way through teenagers. Just something that's a seminal moment. Like for me, it's Independence Day. Like I was in 8th grade. I remember Independence Day like it was yesterday. The alien's head opened up, the whole deal. Like I remember it like so vividly.
Well, I keep going back to, because you asked a question and you threw in a teenager, but I'll have to answer. You said honestly. It was the screening of Glory Road.
Oh, wow.
It's not because I was in it. It's because my dad got to see it.
Wow.
First time here, and it's an uplifting story, but it's kind of sad. But he saw the screening of it, and he actually passed away the next day.
Oh my
goodness.
So that would be the most memorable because it was not the last time we got to hang out, but it's kind of like, oh man, I told him I was gonna be an actor, and he finally got to see something on the big screen. So that was pretty cool for me.
Man, I got to be honest. That is. I mean, I'm sorry so much for your loss. That story, that's a cool story. Like just to get that.
It used to be a horrible story for me to tell, and now I actually really love telling it.
It's a great memory.
A lot more to the story than that, but that's the basis of it.
I mean, all I got is Toy Story. So boy, it's a beautiful story.
Yeah,
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I want to know. Man, I had a question, and now that story just really.
I want to hear that whole story instead of doing what we were doing.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Let's do this. We've all watched things over the past year that maybe we aren't proud of, or we wouldn't have if we were able to leave our homes. What's that thing for you that you kind of got sucked into?
Whew. Well, I'm currently watching right now. I mean, it's not, Billions. Is that
Billions is a good show on Showtime.
Billions, yeah. What else am I watching, man?
You know that Wes Brown's smarter than us when his guilty pleasure is a show with Paul Giamatti and Damian Lewis in it.
We watched Love is Blind on Netflix, so.
My wife, she watches all those. She's like the murder podcast meme.
Yeah.
She watches that to relax. It's super weird.
Yeah. I don't get that either. I have to ask this question. Your mom, did she watch True Blood when she was on it, and was she appalled?
I don't know. Now, I will say this. When we had our daughter, my wife's aunt, she flew out to stay with us for a little while just to help because she had never been out here. And she said, I'd like to watch something you were in.
Oh, no.
I said, okay. So I had the True Blood DVD, and I gave it to her. And I was like, this is going to be funny. 20 minutes later, she just comes, and she has the DVD, and she puts it down and just goes, I did not like that.
And you said that's fair.
Fantastic.
That's very fair.
So how old is your daughter now?
She's 11.
Oh, wow. So she's going to end up stumbling upon True Blood at some point.
They all do.
I'm just saying.
all do.
Yeah.
In the vein of True Blood, I'll ask this question. If you could erase one title from your IMDb, what would it be?
Lockjaw: Rise of the Kulev Serpent.
I almost asked about it. Wes, and I felt like we were just running long. What in the holy Hades is that?
It's a video. What is that?
It is me and DMX running around cane fields in Louisiana chasing evil serpents.
No.
Yes.
Why would you want to get rid of that? Come on. What now? I do have one.
Man, that is 76 minutes.
I got one follow-up. Why?
Because of everything I just said.
No. Why are you running around chasing serpents in the movie?
Because they kind of paid me to do that.
I'll read it. In the countryside, the boy Alan and his friend Becky steal a creepy wooden box with a powerful voodoo stick inside from his voodooistic neighbor. When the boy draws with the stick, his drunken father is attacked by a snake and vanishes. Years later, Alan and Becky are married to each other while planting some flowers to celebrate the death of Alan's mother. Becky finds a box in the garden and she keeps the stick in her pocket. Meanwhile, 5 friends are traveling in a monster truck, drinking beer. The driver accidentally runs over Becky. Whoa! Didn't see it coming! But believes he hit an animal. When Alan witnesses the hit and run and sees his wife dead, he uses the stick, seeking revenge against the youngsters. That's a great movie!
As you're reading that, to be fair, because I'm thinking about like the memories and stuff, there's nothing I would really erase.
That's right.
Whether it was good or bad, because even the bad experiences, which I was being honest, I don't have a lot of them. But even those are like learning experiences, It's like, oh, I worked on this and it wasn't great, or it didn't turn out good, or it's all been a good experience. I wouldn't really erase any of them.
I mean, it's just hard. Like I get it though, because you're sat. You come into the bar, you sidle up to the table, and you go, I got Glory Road, I got We Are Marshall, and I got Lockjaw: Rise of the Kulev Serpent.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It really is. But I mean, DMX, losing my mind out here. That is, I have to watch this movie. It's 76 minutes. I'm here for it, man.
I don't know if it exists. I don't know where you could watch it.
You don't have a copy you could lend us, Wes?
I don't.
Oh my gosh. Did we do it?
We did it.
We did it.
Yeah.
Wes, thank you so much, my friend. It's been so much fun. Can people follow you on the internet if they want to keep up with what you're up to?
I got an Instagram. That's it though. Wes Brown 225. The 225 is Baton Rouge's area code.
Yeah.
Keeping it real.
Calling Baton Rouge. That's what I'm talking about.
Baton Rouge. That's right.
You got to get Garth Brooks on one of your movies. That's what you got to do.
I'm thinking another duo.
Yeah, that would top Kix Brooks, right? If you met Garth.
Whew. Meeting Garth would be incredible.
That would be unreal.
Yeah.
Sometimes he does these Facebook lives on the regular, and if you ever just want to just smile, just turn him on. Like he's such a guy. Like he's just all over the place.
Yeah,
he just rambles. It's great. Love Garth.
Thanks so much, Wes. Oh, go ahead.
I remember we went and see. He did a 2-night show in Los Angeles for the firefighters here when we had those big fires, and there was the concert was so good it ended, and the new one was starting like an hour later. So I went and asked the security guard. I said, "Listen, man, where can I hide that I won't get in trouble?" And he goes, "Well, you can't do that, but I appreciate your honesty so much. I will tell you where I think there's about 5 tickets left." So we went to where he said there was, in fact, like 5 tickets left, bought 2 more tickets, and we watched the show again. And it was a completely different show an hour later.
Whoa. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. That's a great story. And
I think he played like 1 or 2 of the same songs, but it was a completely different show. He
played an all new set, 2-hour set.
Garth doesn't strike me as someone who would want to play the same song twice. Like he just.
I've always said he's the country music Billy Joel. Like Billy Joel does that thing in Madison Square Garden where he'll just take requests. He'll take requests until people want to leave. Like literally, he'll do it for hours on end. And Garth he and his band are ready for every song. It doesn't matter. It's crazy.
It was incredible. He is a true artist.
Man.
I love it. Wes, this has been so fun. We'll have you back on for sure.
We'll do a Garth Brooks podcast.
We'll do a Garth Brooks with
joining us.
Yeah. And we always end each episode by being the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark is a Bramble Jam podcast recorded live in, that Greenville, South Carolina. Is produced by Brandon Gray. Set decor by Plum Haywood Mall. For more information on all Bramble Jam podcasts, you can go to bramblejampodcast.com. For more information on how to listen to Deck the Hallmark ad-free, you can go to bramblejamplus.com.
Taking a tour of where your finances can go? Good plan. See how Northwestern Mutual's approach to financial planning is designed for your goals with our interactive tour. Try it today at northwesternmutual.com/tour. The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.